Good morning, everybody. Glad to have you here. If you'd like to follow along today, we'll be in the 23rd chapter of Acts and beginning in verse 16. And so we'll look there and see again, continuing in Paul's story. It says, Now the son of Paul's sister heard of their ambush, so he went and entered the barracks and told Paul. Paul called one of the centurions and said, Take this young man to the tribune, for he has something to tell them. So he took him and brought him to the tribune and said, Paul the prisoner called me and asked me to bring this young man to you as he has something to say to you. The tribune took him by the hand and going aside asked him privately, What is it that you have to tell me? And he said, The Jews have agreed to ask you to bring Paul down to the council tomorrow, as though they were going to inquire somewhat more closely about him. But do not be persuaded by them, for more than 40 of their men are lying in ambush for him, who have bound themselves by an oath neither to eat nor drink till they have killed him, and now they are ready, waiting for your consent. So the tribune dismissed the young man, charging him, Tell no one that you have informed me of these things. A couple little quick lessons out of that story. Pretty straightforward what's happened here. Somehow Paul's nephew hears of the plan to kill Paul. And so he goes and tells his uncle, he tells Paul, and Paul calls the guards over and says, Take my nephew here, take this young man to report this. And so they take him to the tribune, and he tells them what is planned and protecting, saving Paul's life here. And so their conspiracy has been found out. And there's two things there that I find encouraging, challenging for us. One of them is the words that are used here makes it appear, seems to be that Paul's nephew is not an older man, but he is a young boy, and perhaps early teens. And the courage it would have taken for this young man to step forward and do what was right. And again, especially once Paul said, I want you to go tell the leaders. I want you to go tell the leadership here what has happened. Here are people planning a murder. And here's a young man who has found out about it, and again, it's one thing to tell Paul, but now we've stepped it up a notch. Go and tell the rulers what is going on. And I think if you talk to anybody in law enforcement, they'll tell you that one of the biggest battles they have, one of the hardest, the things for them to overcome is people who are not willing, who know something, who see something, but they're not willing to step forward and share that evidence because they are afraid of retaliation and just don't want to get involved. And so here's a young man who, could have kept his mouth shut, but he did what was right. And that's an important lesson for us today. Sometimes it's hard to be a believer. Sometimes it's hard. We may not have witnessed plans to execute someone, but we have experienced the saving grace of Jesus Christ, and many times we keep that to ourselves. But this young man stepped forward and did the right thing. And then the second side of that, kind of the other side of that coin, is again, we see God taking care of Paul even by using a young man. And there's an old hymn, we sing it on occasion at church, God will take care of you. And here he used a very unlikely candidate to make sure Paul was make sure that Paul was taken care of. And again, a beautiful, beautiful reminder for us that God has many tools at his disposal to accomplish his purpose. Sometimes it is a young child, a young man here in this case. And great encouragement for us today, I hope, that as you think about this whole story and God using this young man, if God could use this young man to save the life of Paul, how does he want to use you today? What does he want to? What kind of work does he want to do in your life today? How does he want to use you in the service of his kingdom? And so today, be alert. Keep your eyes open, your heart tuned in, sensitive to the leadership of God, to see just how it is He wants to use you, how it is He wants you to serve Him. May not be anything to the magnitude of saving the life of the great Apostle Paul, but God has a plan. He has a task for you today. Be sensitive. Hear it, listen to it, find it, and then go do it. All right. Have a great day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.